The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
And that saucy, sexy brunch music only means that it is time for Saturday Brunch here on No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Gozilla Media. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts, and to my right is a man who sold some people the Wonka experience of his own, but just turned out to be a chocolate fountain in the middle of nowhere. We got Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are you doing today?
I fulfilled the 1/4 of my promise. I booked a warehouse. I thought it was smaller. Once I got in there, I was intimidated.
Oh, man.
Oh, we're going to be getting to that into the show. But let me say, it's good to be back after a 2-week respite from the brunch episodes. It's good to be back in the brunch chair. I got my coffee. You can guess what it is. And I got my specialty mug here. And if people want to read it, if people want to read it, they can. I won't say it out loud.
All right, I'll say it out loud because I want the people on the audio side to hear. It says the mug says, "I didn't fart. My ass blew you a kiss."
This was a gift. I did not buy this. This was a gift, but I love it. Shout out to my sister who is not watching because she only watches when we do movie reviews. But good morning. Good to be back with you. How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right. You know, I got a little bit of allergies going on, but my sinuses are a little bit because of the weird weather going on in the area. The fact that we have like early spring, and it's going to continue tomorrow, I guess. I guess everything's blooming early, and my sinuses have decided to say, "Let's have a party!" And yeah, it's awesome. But otherwise, no, things are good. I'm not drinking out of my usual mug this morning. I'm drinking out of my New York Jets travel mug because we're having some kitchen renovations that are being done. Shout out to my new best bud, Courtney, who's been here for the week. Doing our kitchen, so it's gonna look awesome. It's looking awesome right now, but it's gonna look better once everything is done. And if you're in the area in the 518 area and you need somebody to do some efficient contracting work, Courtney is your gal. Courtney is your gal. So
some of the stuff that I want done is just stuff that I'm like too lazy to attempt to do myself. And also I've been thinking about repainting the house. I might give you a shout about that. And also I was thinking, once the kitchen is renovated, we must do an on-premises at your palatial estate, an on-premises, no kitchen required review.
Absolutely. Oh no! Well, yeah. Now it's going to have a breakfast bar and more counter space. Absolutely, we have to do a no kitchen required episode for sure. That'll be that'll be a YouTube exclusive. So stand by. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. But we'll tell you to do that in a minute or two. But before we get into today's version of the Saturday Brunch, we just want to remind you to go to our social media channels, which are right down here below. If you're watching Twitter, Instagram, and the scarcely used TikTok, it's at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/@NoCredsREQ. If you're watching the replay on Rumble, we welcome you. And we also just want to remind you to please go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe to all of our social media channels. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcast platform you subscribe to, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Good Pods, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, whichever podcast platform you use, subscribe to us on your preferred podcast platform or wherever you podcast. Rate the review. A 5-star review will do just nicely. And if you're on a platform where you can review the show, please leave us a review. We'll even read it on the air. And we've got some live comments coming in just as we're going on, but just want to remind you that this is a live show going on. We stream live, then we replay it later, whether on podcast or on the Rumble channel, or you can watch it anytime live, anytime on replay for whether you're subscribed to our other podcast networks or other channels. We want you to engage with the show. We want your comments. Dustin, I know it's Saturday morning, but this is a bonus edition. We want to hear that nice sound.
Always.
And like I said, we got some comments rolling in from Julie from Michigan. She's here for the first time in a couple of weeks. She says hi. Brother Josiah says hi, Ryan and Dustin. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Also says he'll leave us a review with pleasure. 5-star coming. Awesome.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you, brother. All right. So we're not gonna talk sports for this first segment. I know it's a shock. I know.
We're leading off. We're leading off.
I forgot to tell you this. My apologies, but we're gonna lead off with this because this story I just can't get out of my mind. I can't get this out of my mind. The Wonka Chocolate Experience, or as I call it, the FyreFest for kids. Now, this story I heard about on the show. One of my favorite comedy podcasts is called Normal World, with one of my favorite comedians. His name is Dave Landau. It's a great show. Check it out. It's a really funny show. And he talked about this story, I think it was on Wednesday's edition, about a Willy Wonka experience in Glasgow, Scotland, which actually turned out to be, and I'm just going to describe it as the worst. Think about the worst birthday party you've ever been to, but you have to pay for it.
Yeah. This is a bait and switch if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, and I when I told Dustin what we're going to talk about today, I just see him reply, "Ha ha 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 ha." Okay, and then I sent him the article, and I'm just going to quote the article from CBS News, and this is what it says, and I quote: "Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory is a magical, colorful place with a chocolate river, edible flowers, and Oompa Loompas bustling about. But a Willy Wonka event in Glasgow, Scotland, that was billed as an immersive experience turned out to be less than stellar. In fact, when some ticket holders showed up with their kids, they called the police." They called the police, and I'm gonna show the pictures.
Yeah, we have to show the pictures to bring this home. Podcast people, we'll do the best to describe this to you.
Yeah, we'll do our best, and I'm gonna share my screen with y'all. So this was shared by by someone named Stuart Sinclair. We'll give him credit for it. He shared it on Facebook. It was in the article on CBS News, and I'll share my screen. It's on Facebook. You can go check it out if you desire. But here's what it looked like on the way in. There's the velvet rope, and there's just a painting of whatever that is in the background. I can't tell if it's the Shire, if it's a walk into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. I can't really tell. It's just a velvet rope. It's a red rope, a VIP rope. And according to the article, they were parents. Some parents had this Stuart Sinclair gentleman, who's brave enough to share this on his Facebook page. He drove 2 hours with 3 kids and paid $44 a ticket.
Oh my God, a ticket
for the event.
That's terrible.
So this gentleman spent over $130 for his 3 kids, and this is just the first picture.
Yeah, it gets worse.
Yeah. There's Willy Wonka. There's the part of the chocolate factory with the edible flowers. That's the scene with the edible flowers.
Note the immersive concrete floor on the bottom, and also, hey, I know people try their best. I don't really have a design eye. You can ask one of my ex-girlfriends. I do not have a design eye. But anyway, these are like haphazardly set up too. Like they're not even trying to work with the space. It's just I don't know.
No, and we'll go to the next picture. The flat screen TV and like just like background sets. I would use that for a green screen.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, I should probably get one of those for my green screen someday.
Or just have
we'll use it. We'll get that background and use it as a backdrop for No Kitchen Required.
Oh yeah, we can do that.
Oh
make
man,
it look real nice in here. But I mean, this is like, you know what this reminds me of? Because I watched the news report as well. So I was looking at some of the video that people had shot of this thing, and the whole time I'm thinking about it. And Ryan and anybody else from the 518, you'll get this reference. It reminded me of like Latham Circle Mall now, like that's what this looks like. A wasteland. This is not an immersive experience. This is a wasteland. The audacity to charge $44 a ticket for this. And I also want to say shout out to the actors, because one of the parents that was interviewed on the video segment that he mentioned, he said his older kids laughed it off a little bit, but he's got a 4-year-old daughter. The daughter was like crestfallen, because she was telling teachers that she was going to be meeting Willy Wonka. He said the actors were great. They tried their best to lift the spirits of the kids and and work with what they were given the best they could. But by some reports, and I didn't do much research into this, but apparently one of the actors that played Willy Wonka has not been paid. He has not been paid. So I would venture a guess, if Wonka's not paid, I bet the Oompa Loompas aren't paid either. This is ridiculous.
This is looks like another, it's just a repeat of the last picture. And there's more. There's a line ish.
Yeah. Yeah. And
there's the rainbow as you walk in.
I mean, that's better than I can do, but that's not saying much. Yeah. And the other thing is, you should have had this in a smaller space, because it wouldn't. It still would have looked bad, but it wouldn't look as bad.
Yeah, I mean, the church I go to, they meet in a boys and girls club. That could have been a better venue than an abandoned warehouse.
Hey, if it's good enough for LeBron, it's good enough for this. I had to do it. I had to do it.
My king.
He's taking his talents to the Wonka immersive experience.
Yeah, I mean, there was one picture. I'm trying to find the picture. It was one of the Oompa Loompa actors. Actually, it was an actress who didn't look like an Oompa Loompa at all. Like, she didn't have the orange face. She just had dyed green hair, and she was sitting behind what looked like a meth lab. Honestly. I gotta find the picture. It's just it's a train wreck.
Yeah,
this was a train wreck, and I don't blame these moms or these parents at all.
No.
Oh, I found it. I found the picture.
Right.
I found the picture. I'm gonna share it. Hang on. Yeah. So this was like I said, this was like the worst birthday party you've ever been to, and you gotta pay for it.
I know. It's so real. Like they should have set this up.
There she is. There she is. This poor girl.
Oh man, she's like, I'm so sorry, everybody. She's Matt Damon in the Dunk Kings commercial. She doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, Julie from Michigan from the top rope. This is a Willy Wonka meets Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And this one has the TMZ report has better pictures of. This is just like there's a gummy bear. There's a very sad looking Oompa Loompa who barely looks like she wants to be there.
Yeah.
There's the Willy Wonka guy. He apologized. He apologized too. He's like, I'm so sorry that this happened. Also, I haven't been paid. And apparently the kids who got there.
Oh, half glass of lemonade. Yeah.
Half glass of lemonade and 2 jelly beans. And they were promised chocolate. They were
There's
promised all
no
because it's Wonka.
chocolate.
It's the Wonka Experience. Yeah, new details in the Willy Wonka disaster. Script was 15 pages of AI-generated gibberish.
Oh
Made up
my!
a villain called the Unknown, an evil chocolate maker who lives in the walls, and not Mr. Worms. Worms.
Not Mr. Slugworth. Mr. Slugworth.
Slugworth. Yes, thank you.
Who spoilers
Event,
for?
yep, there it is. Event had
spoilers
no
for the
chocolate.
book and the movie. He's actually an agent for Wonka. Everybody.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So this was possibly one of the worst things I've ever seen. And there better be a documentary on this, like a FyreFest.
Yeah, we have to know about this.
But here's the thing. It'll be kids from Scotland or parents from Scotland or the actors. It'll be in Scottish, and some of them will probably have to have subtitles because sometimes you can't understand what the Scots are saying, unfortunately.
Hey man, I got a lot of Scottish heritage in my family, and sometimes I can't even understand what I'm saying.
I'm Scotch Irish, same deal. But we're gonna move on from terrifyingly funny experience, which was also kind of sad. I feel for the kids mostly.
Yeah, the kids. I mean, that's got to be a huge disappointment, and the parents, like you're saying, that poor individual who drove 2 hours with 3 kids for that. Yeah. I'd probably be calling the cops too. This is not a McDonald's didn't give me my last nugget, so I'm going to call 911 situation. This is real anger. I would be calling the cops.
Yeah. I guess people did call the cops because it was just a crazy time. All right, we're gonna move on from chocolate to football. So here we are, folks. Here's the sports talk you've been waiting for on a Saturday morning. We're going to talk about the NFLPA team rankings. And what this is that this is a survey that's given to players from the NFL Players Union, the association. And what they do is that they take this poll. They've been doing this for the last couple of years. They've been taking a poll of teams to figure out which, in terms of personnel, in terms of facilities, in terms of nutrition, all these types of factors, and they poll each team, and they figure out they poll each player, and they figure out which teams are the best in the league in terms of grades, in terms of grading system. They started this in 2023. And the teams, if I remember correctly, the 2 teams that were the best in this poll were the Minnesota Vikings and the Miami Dolphins. Mm-hmm. They had, I believe they had A or A- grades in terms of how they were reviewed. So if I go to the page, I'm going to look at the Minnesota Vikings. And they ranked these in terms of, and they were second at the top of the 32 teams. So they ranked these categories. They poll. In this poll, they ask how the treatment of families, how they rate the treatment of families, the food, the nutritionist, the locker room, training staff, weight room, strength coaches, team travel, head coach, ownership. So out of this category, Minnesota ranked first in 1, 2, 3, 4 categories, and second in 1, 2, 3, 4 categories. So in terms of treatment of families, they got an A. They were first. They provided the Minnesota Vikings owners, I believe it's Ziggy Wilf.
Mm-hmm. It is Ziggy Wilf.
Yep, they provide a family room at the game, and they provide daycare on game day. Okay. In terms of food cafeteria, they rank 7th overall in taste and freshness. Nutritionist, dietitian, they were finished first. They got an A. Players give their dietitian the highest individual grade of any dietitian in the NFL. 96% of players feel like they get an individualized plan. So this is just basically a ranking of teams. They ask the players, okay, how do you feel about family? Like, how do they treat your family? How do they treat you individually as a person? Do you have a personalized nutrition plan? How do you feel the weight room is? the training staff. How do you feel about them? Your coaches, your strength coaches, your head coach, your team travel. This was a really fascinating survey. So the two teams that finished 1-2, Miami finished first, and Minnesota finished second. I don't know if you got a chance to read the poll, but do you know who finished the bottom two?
Well, I pulled up the page and I was looking at some of the grades, and some of them shocked me. I can't remember who finished in the bottom two, but I'm going to guess based on some of the things. The Arizona Cardinals got to be towards the bottom based on some of their overall grades, and their owner getting an F. And there's a few F minuses on this thing. I didn't even know you know. But the Kansas City Chiefs, some of their rankings surprised me as well. But I'm going to guess the Arizona Cardinals was one of the bottom two, and I don't really have another guess for.
All right. So Kansas City finished 31st.
Okay, so I was in there. It's Kansas City.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, in terms of training room, training staff, locker room, they got Fs.
Yeah.
In those categories. Fs and Ds in those categories. But here's the thing. Here's what I got to push back on in terms of facilities. Arrowhead Stadium is one of the oldest stadiums in the league. I believe it opened somewhere. I think it opened up in the 1974, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to check on.
All right, real-time research when it opened, going on.
1972.
Okay, yep.
And they've had several renovations since then. They had renovations in 1991, 1994, and then 2007 through 2010. This is an older facility. So in terms of locker room space, yeah, you're not going to get a whole lot of locker room space because of the fact that it's an older facility. Now, if they, like, if I remember correctly, the Royals are they're going to build their own stadium somewhere in Kansas City, which I think would be a huge mistake because the Chiefs and the Royals share a parking lot together.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're right next to each other in terms of space. So, but here's the thing: head coach, they finished with an A+.
Yeah,
because it's Andy Reid.
Mm-hmm. No, he clearly is not the problem as perceived by his own players in Kansas City. And if you are right, a little deviation. If you are right about the Royals building a new stadium, I'm very shocked because I've heard nothing but great things about Kauffman Stadium with the fountains, everything else. That was on my list of stadiums to visit, that one there. But yeah, I was shocked by some of these Chiefs. How about the owner? The owner of the Chiefs getting some real heat here. Not very good
F-.
grades. Yeah,
F-. It says club owner Clark Hunt receives a rating of 4.9 out of 10 from Chiefs players when considering his willingness to invest in the facilities. And again, it's the building's 50 going on 60, 52 years old. It's a 52-year-old building. It's had several renovations, but yeah, I understand if you're concerned about the facilities, but you're a winning team.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some things that they have to improve on. The treatment of families, they got a D+.
Oh yeah.
So they provide a family room at the stadium. They provide daycare across the street on game day. And it says a number of players want daycare to be offered on site like most NFL teams, which will make it more convenient for their families. New England finished 29th.
Yeah.
I forgot who the other bad team was because Kansas City finished 31st. I'm trying to figure out who finished 32nd. It wasn't the Patriots, although the Patriots have a lot to be desired on.
Yeah, the Patriots.
In terms of treatment of families, it says they're one of the 12 teams that do not provide a family room during games. They're one of 7 teams that do not provide daycare support for players' children on game day. And they're only one of 4 teams that do not offer either a family room or daycare. So Robert Kraft missed the mark at Gillette Stadium.
Yeah,
for families.
Yeah, and I doubt that this team is at the bottom based because their grades do improve as you move through the categories. But how about the Cincinnati Bengals? They get an F- in treatment of families. They get an F- in the food cafeteria. They get an F- in the nutritionist, dietitian, D+ for the locker room. Then when you get to the training room, it's B+, training staff, B+, B+. So their average does start to go up there. But the Cincinnati Bengals coming out with some real stinkers.
Yeah, I just catching up on the Los Angeles Chargers. They had a really bad grade too. They finished 30th out of the 32 teams. They received an F for treatment of families. They charged $75 for the first child and $50 for each additional child per family for daycare on game day.
The
Come
Spanos
on.
family is ridiculous. And overall, that was going to be one of the things I wanted to get into. NFL teams treat the players' families better. Jesus. Some of these grades are like it's bad almost across the board for the majority of the NFL. Very few A's and B's in there.
Yeah, Minnesota got an A, Miami got an A, Dallas Cowboys got an A-. Let's see who else got an A. San Francisco 49ers got an A-.
Yeah. Yeah, that was going to be one of the ones that stuck out to me, although in my opinion, a little bit of football talk here.
I finally found who finished 32nd.
Oh, okay. Who we got?
We're sorry, Drew Willingham, if you're watching on replay. Or
yeah, I should have.
The Washington Commanders finished 32nd out of 32 teams. They received the worst grades.
Oh, man.
To be fair,
mm-hmm.
This team just got a change in ownership.
Yes, you got to give them time to even out.
You gotta give them time to really. And this survey took place, I guess, during the season. So
okay,
it's going to be interesting to see what happens if they can kind of continue from here. The only way to go forward. Yeah, treatment of families, they received an F-. Ugh.
Yeah. No, they got to get some of that. It's going to take a while, I think, for them to get that Schneider stink off of them.
And here's the thing, like about that you were mentioning about the New Orleans Saints. It's New Orleans. New Orleans has some of the best food in the world. In terms of like great cooking, like Cajun and gumbo and Emerald. I mean, bring in Emerald Lagasse, bam, to be your head chef. Come on.
Yeah, you'd be kicking it up a notch down there. But some of these grades really surprised me. And I did go, of course, naturally, you're gonna go to your own team, right? The Seahawks, they get a treatment. They get a C for treatment of families, which compared to the majority of the rest of this chart, not too bad. But
so I'm reading the Washington Commanders locker room situation. Get this.
Oh, man.
F- for locker room. Only 26% of players feel like they have enough room in their individual lockers. Last. Only 19% of players feel like the locker room is big enough. 32nd overall. Many players feel that the locker room is way too small and need of reservation. Again, FedEx Field is one of the old. I mean, in terms of facilities, it's one of the oldest in the league.
Yeah.
But here's what is the kicker. Players also mentioned issues with cleanliness, citing multiple sewage leaks this season.
Oh, come on. You got to. I mean, geez. Invest in the guts of the building. That's the thing. So many people, sometimes you renovate. Everybody wants to make everything look beautiful, but you got to make sure that your building, your house, whatever it is, has good guts, because all you're doing is putting lipstick on a pig if the internals of the building don't work correctly.
Ugh, it's gross. Yeah, so I'm looking at the oldest to newest stadiums in the league. Soldier Field is the oldest.
Yeah.
Followed by Lambeau Field, Arrowhead Stadium. I refuse to call it Highmark Stadium. It's New Era Field. The Superdome, Hard Rock Stadium, Everbank or TIAA Cref Stadium Field, Jacksonville, Bank of America Stadium, which is the original stadium the Carolina Panthers have always played in. Same with Everbank or TIAA Cref Field in Jacksonville. And then FedEx Field. And FedEx Field is one of the oldest in terms of it's one of the oldest facilities in the league. So yeah, I mean, I can understand where ownership wants to step it up. They want to make sure they can try to go back to downtown Washington D.C. Although Ted Leonsis has announced that he's going to have a new facility for the Capitals and the Washington Wizards somewhere in Northern Virginia around the Arlington area. He's trying to lobby for that.
Okay.
So they're trying to get back in. The only teams that play in downtown Washington right now are the Washington Nationals and DC United, the soccer team, the MLS team.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if the Defenders are in the UFL. I'm not sure if they were one of the 8 teams from the XFL that made it into the UFL, but I'll double check it. I'll double check because they would have played their games at Audi Field, which is where DC United plays. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Here's my thing. I've gone this hobby horse for quite a while about NFL stadiums and owners crying poverty every time they have to try to get a new stadium. Or, I mean, it sucks that the Giants and the Jets have to share a stadium. Same with the Chargers and the Rams. And I think the facilities for the Rams and the Chargers received high marks because it's a newer stadium. Stadium. For all these owners who cry poverty for wanted a new stadium, or else they're going to be threatened, or else they're going to threaten to move. Again, this is where the NFL should come in and say, "Hey," and again, this is what I proposed in my commissioner running for commissioner in the NFL of Major League Baseball in 2030. The league has to step in and help out. It just can't. Yes, I agree that it can't exclusively be all on the owner. It can't exclusively be all on the cities they're in. It has to be the league has to step in at some point and say, "Hey, we have to help out. We got up there facilities. We got to make sure they're new. You're a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah,
you can help out."
Yeah. It should be the equivalent of like every few years, and I don't know how this works, but maybe every decade or so, the oldest stadium in the NFL gets it's like there's going to be an improvement project. If a new stadium is not available, we're going to improve the existing facilities. We're going to renovate. It should be. I don't know how to propose that, but it should be like some sort of timeline that so every decade or so, the oldest stadium just gets renovated. Like there's money that's put into a communal pool, and that's what happens. I don't know how it would work, but I think something like that would be beneficial. But because you're right, it should not be all on the owner, but it certainly should not be all on the taxpayers. Too many times the city residents are asked to foot the bill for these monster stadiums. And then, as you and I have complained about before, and our complaints are justified, it is not a quick voyage to Yankee Stadium for us. And then you have to pay the parking, and then you have to pay. And then even if you drive down to Poughkeepsie and take the train, you're still paying for a train ticket. It's a challenge just to get to the stadium, and then you get in there. And I'm pulling out some numbers, but I don't think they're too far off for like a beer that would be considered bottom of the barrel cheap, of some of our domestic beers. No shade against anybody, but it's like you're paying $10 for that. And then if you want a imported beer, you're getting a Heineken for like $15. It's ridiculous.
Look, I had dinner with my parents last night. We did 3 years worth of Christmas in one night. It was awesome. But nice. I stopped at what used to be known as Minogue's. It's beverage center in this area. It's now known as Bev's, BEVS, like for beverages. Yeah. And I got a 4-pack of Walter's Pilsner from Germany, import from Germany, $6.
Nice
4-pack. It was actually really great beer too.
Yeah, I would like to try that.
Ridiculous, and it's ridiculous paying $12 for a beer at Yankee Stadium or anywhere else in particular. I mean, at least you go to the minor league ballpark. You go to Joe Bruno Stadium for a Valley Cats game. You're not only paying for beer, you're paying for good local beer too. You got Brown's Brewing.
Yeah,
Brown's Brewing is awesome.
It's right there. And you know what? We're having a little bit production meeting on the show. We're going to Valley Cats games this season. Let's do it.
Woo!
Anybody
Yeah,
that
for
wants to
sure.
join us, any cred head out there that's local to the
Yeah, any
518, meet us at a Valley Cats game. We'll get together in the Discord. We'll figure out a date.
yeah. Yeah, and I also forgot to mention last week we talked to my buddy Jeff Levac from Levac and Gods. He's also team president of the Albany Firebirds. We're going to be covering Albany Firebirds football on this show.
Oh, awesome! All right.
Once it kicks off, so we're gonna stay tuned to the YouTube channel. We're gonna have interviews. We're gonna do some special things for the Firebirds. I think.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I think these NFLPA surveys, and it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing that this group is doing.
Yeah.
It puts the spotlight on the owners to say, hey, we need to be more efficient in our training. We need you to put some investments in the facilities, the training locker, the training room, especially the weight room. I think I saw the New England Patriots weight room is below standards for an NFL weight room. There were some players who said, I would rather go to some of the local gyms around the Foxborough area.
Wow.
Have better weights, better machines than what's at Gillette Stadium at the training facility in New England. So
that's unbelievable.
And again, I hate when these owners cry poverty. I hate when these owners say, oh, we can't afford to do this. We can't afford to do that. Yes, you can. You're billionaires. You're billionaires. There was a reason why you became billionaires. You invested wisely in the companies that you built. And what are you going to do? Like, are you going to treat this as a prop? Are you going to treat this as you're going to treat your teams as a mantelpiece to say, oh, I go to parties and I say I'm an NFL team owner? No. There's a reason why your players are the most. Look, I understand paying the players contracts. The players are the most important. The players are, yes, their most important investment on your team. But you can also put your money into other investments like good food, good nutritionists, great staff for training staff, a great weight room. Look, there are some, I guarantee that there are probably some better weight rooms in the NCAA football Division I right now.
For sure.
That are miles ahead of NFL weight rooms.
For sure there are. You've seen some of these. I think the facilities at Oregon come to mind.
Alabama, SMU, any SEC, basically any SEC school not named Vanderbilt has better weight rooms and weight facilities than an NFL locker room. Or NFL weight room. That's sad.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And you can say what you want, and I might be a little biased because I'm a Mavs fan, right? But Mark Cuban, during his tenure as sole owner of the Mavs, he is no longer sole owner of the Mavs, if memory serves. He brought somebody else in to help, run the team, but he is still running the NBA side of things. I think the business side of the Mavs is now under different stewardship. But back in the day, I remember an interview where Mark Cuban said, one of the things I wanted to change when I came to Dallas, he updated all their facilities. He updated the travel conditions for the team. He updated a lot of things because he said, look, he basically said something, and I'm heavily paraphrasing here, but he basically said, Dallas has proven not to be a destination. I want to make it a destination. And some of the ways that I can do that are in making sure my players have the best facilities, the best travel conditions. I want to make sure my players are treated well, because word of mouth is a thing, and that will help attract others here. It hasn't always worked out. I remember, especially in the mid 2000s, free agents, Dallas was always getting spurned. I was never happy, but it wasn't for lack of trying.
Yeah, and I wonder if some of these rankings can be a factor in where a free agent goes When he declares
100%.
when he declares for free agency. It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
100%. If we go back to our no ticket required, which will be making a regular return this summer, you heard it here first. Remember that in the Moneyball movie, they talked about you got to pay for your own sodas in Oakland. You know, people remember that kind of stuff, and you bet your bottom dollar that a player's like, I don't want to. You know, to us it may seem small, but often it's the small things in life, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. All right, folks, we're going to take our lone commercial break. When we come back, we're talking about Mecole Hardman and the
Ooh.
scandal. Man, that's going on
This
with
is
him.
bad. This is bad. I can't wait to hear your
bad.
thoughts as a fan of your beloved Jets. Come on, everybody, join us after the break. This is going to be.
I got
up.
I got thoughts. I got thoughts. Stick around for more No Credentials Required. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air roasted, 100% money back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. That's right, folks. Invader Coffee, one of our proud affiliate sponsors with No Credentials Required and with Belly Up Sports. Listen, some of the best coffee I've ever had is Invader Coffee because it's air roasted, so it reduces acidity. You get a nice clean texture, nice clean taste whenever you have your coffee. And they also come in a convenient Keurig cup. So get yourself some K-Cups. I ordered some K-Cups because we're, like I said, beginning at the top of the show, my kitchen's undergoing renovations. And I can't do my usual coffee, my French press coffee every morning. So I got K-Cups. I ordered some K-Cups on Bitter Coffee, and I used our affiliate link, which is in the description on Facebook and on YouTube. It'll also be in the podcast description. But not only can you help this show by ordering Invader Coffee from our link, you can also save 15% off your order with promo code BELLYUP, as that very handsome man in the voiceover said. So go to, and Dustin, you love Invader Coffee too. I mean, you got some good flavors out there. Come on.
I do. I've also ordered the K-Cups on many of the occasion to bring to the office, but right now, sitting in my cabinet off the top of my head, properly stored, of course, you got to keep the air and light out of your coffee. I have the Warhorse Bacon Bourbon Blend. Love to have that when I'm feeling extra fancy. I have the Break in Case of Emergency Blend, which I'm very excited to try. I have in my cup right now my Christmas MVP, the Cookie Crumble. I also have a bag right now of the Bad Santa blend. Can't wait for those holiday blends to return. I have had the Donut Dealer, which is one of my favorites. That I have been checking. I don't think it's back in stock yet, but oh man, there's just so many good ones to choose from. And I know I sound like a shill, but I have not had a flavor yet that I'm thinking, oh, I didn't like this. And the best part is when that craving hits you, their shipping is fast. You'll pay a little bit more, but it'll get to you quick. And one time, after I ordered using our promo code, of course, I received a nice little handwritten thank you. It's steps like that make me, want to continue to support this company, and you should too. It's veteran owned. We've talked about this. Support your veterans. It's awesome coffee. I couldn't say enough good things about it.
Yeah. If you love your country, you love your veterans, get yourself some Invader Coffee today. Use the link in the description, and also use promo code BELLYUP. You save 15% off your order. And again, as I mentioned before, you might pay a little bit more for shipping, but it comes quickly. It comes quickly. 2 business days, you'll have fresh roasted coffee in your hands, ready to brew. And again, you can get the whole bean. You can get ground. I prefer whole bean because I like to do the grinding myself.
Yeah.
No,
Makes me feel like a man.
Right. Right. So get yourself some Invader coffee today. All right. Our final topic of the Saturday morning brunch. Whew. Mecole Hardman. My goodness. This has just been a complete crap show. Let's go back to the beginning. So on the Pivot podcast, which is, I guess, is a 4-letter network podcast with Ryan Clark, he had Mecole Hardman on. Mecole Hardman was the gentleman who caught the game-winning pass to win the Super Bowl for the Kansas City Chiefs. He was not with the Chiefs the entire season, though. He signed a 1-year contract with the New York Jets, my New York Jets, in free agency last year. He was projected to be the punt returner. He was going to be the gadget guy who kind of began the gadget things in the offense. I believe my theory is he signed because Aaron Rodgers was coming to New York as the quarterback, and he wanted to play with Aaron Rodgers. I don't blame him. That's his
safe bet.
Now, here's the timeline of what happened with him. He gets hurt during the preseason. He injures his hand. I believe he had a broken hand or some sort of injury to his hand, which affected his punt catching ability, his pass catching ability. He got beat out for the punt returner spot by Xavier Gipson, who was an undrafted free agent. He was the guy who he was the player who brought back that touchdown in week 1 after Aaron Rodgers went down 4 plays into the season for the Jets, and he got the walk-off touchdown for the Jets on Monday night. Very emotional game. I was roller coaster. Anyway, so Mecole Hardman wasn't configured in the Jets offense, had a very difficult time his tenure with the Jets. And allegedly, sometime during the season, he was texting to the GM in Kansas City and former teammate Patrick Mahomes. He was texting to them with the quote, "Come get me," as in, "Come get me out of New York."
Mm-hmm.
He says, and I'm going to quote here. This is from the article that was on ESPN. Because I'm telling you right now, I was so checked out, like it was over with. I already talked to Chiefs GM Brett Veach and Pat Mahomes, like, "Come get me." 2 weeks after he sent that text, he was traded back to the Chiefs for a 6th-round pick. Now, allegedly, there's more. But wait, there's more.
This second part is the one that got me, because he is far from the first player to do that. You can't hold that against him. I mean, it recently brings to memory of longtime Seahawk Earl Thomas, one of my favorites for a long time, but his tenure did not end well with the Seahawks. But I remember there was a particular game where they played the Dallas Cowboys, and after that game, Earl Thomas, who played his college ball at Texas, went into the Cowboys locker room to, congratulate them or whatever. I can't remember if the Seahawks won or lost that game. And the mics picked him up saying, "Come get me." He said, "Come get me," to one of the Cowboys personnel in the locker room. So he is Mecole Hardman is far from the first person to do this. We've heard other stories about it. We've heard people recruiting at the Pro Bowl. I'm not saying it's 100% right, but you can't really hold this part against Mecole. The next part, which you're about to get into, galled me.
So let me get into the tweet that was sent out by Connor Hughes of SNY. And this is what he alleges from several of his Mecole Hardman's former teammates, including Sauce Gardner and Kenny Yeboah. This is the quote. I'm quoting the tweet from Thursday, which came out about 7:44 p.m. Eastern. He says, and I quote, "Yes, I'm told there was validated belief from the Jets that wide receiver Mecole Hardman, frustrated by his lack of usage, leaked game plans to the opposition as implied by several players today. Not just the Eagles game, but also the Chiefs. And he goes on to say, ironically, the Eagles' victory was arguably the best of the season for the Jets, while Zach Wilson enjoyed the best game of his career against the Chiefs. I confirmed. That was the best. That was the best until a best game of his career until that fumble, which saw the Jets not get the ball back. Period. And they would have beaten the Chiefs if Zach Wilson hadn't fumbled, and we had that phantom no holding call, and we also had that phantom holding call on defense. That's neither here nor there. So, yeah, two of his former teammates allege, he leaked plans to the opposition for 2 of those weeks. But wait, there's more. Now, Mecole Hardman comes out yesterday. There's an article by Rich Cimini, who's a beat writer for the Four Letter Network. He comes out and says that Mecole Hardman denied. He issued a denial on Twitter, in which I say, quote, "These were false accusations made about me and my character. To set the record straight, I have never and would never leak game plans to another team. I have never been a person to give an opponent an upper hand. I always want to win, no matter the circumstances." End quote. This is nuts.
Yeah.
This is absolutely nuts. And I have a feeling this is going to affect Hardman's standing as a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
It's also going to affect it. I think if the NFL and the NFL won't investigate this because Kansas City is two-time shout out Booker T.
Yeah, of course.
Defending Super Bowl champion. It's also the New York Jets, which the NFL treats like a redheaded stepchild as an organization. So there won't be an investigation into this. That's my feeling about the matter. But if there was an investigation into this, there's possible tampering involved. Mm-hmm. There's possible cheating involved because Lord knows we've seen enough cheating with the New England Patriots between the deflated footballs and the videotape scandal for the Super Bowl when they played the Rams when they won their first Super Bowl. Lord knows there's always some sort of accusations of cheating and tampering and whatnot. And yeah, this is going to definitely affect Mecole Hardman's free agency standing because he is a free agent. He's set to be a free agent on March 14th. If you were a GM, Dustin, would you even reach out to Mecole Hardman?
No, I would not, because the thing is, and we have to say, innocent until proven guilty. This is the way it should work. But if there is truth to this, no, he would be on the NFL equivalent of the blacklist for me. I would not want him on my roster, and I would feel like a lot of NFL GMs and coaching staffs would feel the same way. Why go near it? Because no shade to Mecole. He is talented, without a doubt. He made the NFL. He's good enough to play in the NFL. He's had some success in the NFL, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not think he is considered a number one receiver or even a number two. I think he is like a third option on most plays, even for the Chiefs.
I would say he's better as a punt returner and a fifth option as a wide receiver, and coming out of the slot. As a slot, he's a slot receiver. He's not that big. He's fast, but he's not that big.
Yeah.
And yeah, it would be considered a veteran option because he's been in the league for a little bit.
But
I think the only team that'll really take a flyer on him is the Kansas City Chiefs because he's familiar with those players. He's familiar with that system. He's familiar with Andy Reid.
Yeah, and they know him a little bit. There's familiarity there, but let me just put it this way: the first thing that he has said that he did, texting other teams and saying, "Get me out of here," that's enough in some cases for most teams to be like, "All right, I'm not touching that guy because if I don't use him to the degree that he likes, he's going to start trying to search elsewhere. He's not going to want to be here. He's not going to want to be invested. He's not going to want to give us a chance." So maybe I'm being a little strict, but that alone is enough for me to be like, yeah. And then this second part, this second part is unbelievable. That's like a
Mhm.
psyops operation. We got to get Jesse Ventura from his compound in Mexico to start looking for the
I
documents.
I called Mecole Hardman, and we wanted him to get out of New York because Aaron Rodgers, he wasn't being utilized on that offense. So we had to send him back to Kansas City. I have the papers. I have the papers to prove it.
I built a direct conduit from New York to the basement of Arrowhead. The tunnel is going to be used for the renovations that are about to happen. But I mean, I would not bring him in. I would not bring him in. What about you, Ryan? As a Jet fan, you have a little bit more familiarity with Mecole than I do. But I want to hear your thoughts because I would not bring him in.
I wouldn't bring him in either. I think he's done so much bad will, according to his former teammates, notably Sauce Gardner and Kenny Yeboah. And Sauce Gardner is one of the best, is arguably the best player on the Jets. So if he's saying something about Mecole Hardman leaking game plans to the opposition the day before a game, you gotta look into that. But again, it's the NFL, and the NFL is not good. And right now, the golden calf of the NFL is the Kansas City Chiefs, because they bring in so much money, so much attention, so many eyes because of the Swifties. And I'm not putting this on the Swifties again.
Yeah.
No, again, don't. But you can come at me again. Swifties, Beehive, a band of orcs, same people. But no, there has to be some sort. If the NFL was fair and they treated all 32 teams the same, I would look into it. If I were Joe Douglas, or who's kind of like, this is not, we're not focused on this right now. Although I would put a line into the commissioner if I was Woody Johnson and say, hey, look, can we look into this? Can we do an investigation? Because they did all those investigations on the New England Patriots for so many years, and it backfired.
Yeah.
Because all we got was the Patriots all day and all night for 2 decades.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're getting the same treatment for the Kansas City Chiefs because they're the golden calf. They're the standard right now. They're the standard. Great. But when you have former teammates alleging of possible cheating and now possible tampering, and you said it, it's on the record. It's on the record on a podcast available to everyone. To everyone. If you want to download it, don't download that podcast, because that 4-letter network gets enough scratch. Download our podcast instead.
Yeah, and check out the other podcasts on the Belly Up Network, and take a stop by the Belly Up YouTube channel. We got a bunch of great shows.
Yeah,
Whatever your interest is, we have something on Belly Up for you.
For sure.
But also, kick us a download as well.
Or 2 or 10. But yeah, this is something worth looking into, because this is you got tampering, you got cheating. You've got a player on the record saying, yeah, I texted Pat Veach and I texted Pat Mahomes, or Brett Veach, and I texted Pat Mahomes. I told him, get me out of here. And eventually they did. They managed to work it out. They sent a 6th-round pick for this year for Mecole Hardman. Mecole Hardman, hey, good for you. Caught the game-winning pass in the Super Bowl. Good for you. You got your ring. Good for you. Sorry you had a miserable experience in New York. But that's on you. That's on you. It's not on the team. It's not the New York Jets. It's not on Aaron Rodgers. It's on you to make your experience a good one. And you didn't. You got and this is here's the ultimate shade. Here's the ultimate shade. I got this bookmarked on my Twitter page. And it's from Thomas Morstead, the punter.
Ooh, okay.
You're gonna get bodied by the punter. You did something. You done messed up. And he said on Thursday, quote, "Be careful getting information from disgruntled former employees. Getting beat out by a rookie free agent after being guaranteed millions of dollars is tough to deal with. Entitlement is a killer of opportunity. You have to earn it every year." Close quote. Pay that man.
Yeah.
Pay that man. If there's like 3 free agents from the Jets I want back, Thomas Morstead's one of them
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
absolutely bodied Mecole Hardman in that tweet. Absolutely bodied him.
And Thomas, we know you're a big fan of the show. You're always interested in hearing Ryan's takes on your Jets. Swing by. We'd love to have you as a guest.
Thomas Morstead, the true punt god. Not that Matt Ariza guy. But yeah, no, you know what? We'll close up with some comments. I never got a chance to read the comments after the commercial, so we'll go. To close the show, we're gonna read your comments. We had a lot of them today. A lot.
Nice. I'm happy people are in there. Thanks for watching, engaging with us.
Brother Josiah says Dave Landau is epic. Yes, he's hysterical. I love Dave Landau. He's great. Sick Diggy, friend of the show, checking in from Norway, says, "What in the almond butter and blackberry jelly sandwich?" That actually sounds delicious. My apologies, folks, but I had to keep it alternatively organic for a moment. Julie from Michigan about the FyreFest for kids says that looks like a horror movie. Brother Josiah says it looks like kids set this up for a school play. Yep.
Yes, 1,000%.
Sick coming in with the what and the Don King's bad perm is this nonsense? Oh, oh yeah. Julie saying, "Oh, there were actors. Bless their heart."
Yeah, they're trying their best.
Brother Josiah, the Oompa Loompas should sing a song about this horror, and he goes on to sing, "Oompa Loompa Doompa Doo, I have the perfect puzzle for you. What do you do when you rip people off, causing Ryan and Dustin to scoff?"
There you go. Nicely done.
I can carry a tune, but not that far. Not that far. Sick saying the Oompa Loompas were most likely picketing from across the street. Yeah, they were probably led by Peter Dinklage, who says, "No, there's not so many roles for the little people in Hollywood are demeaned." And yeah, and he goes on to win an Emmy in Game of Thrones. Shut up, Peter Dinklage.
I mean, he was great as Tyrion Lannister.
He was. He drinks and he knows things. I mean,
yes, and he also was great as his role in Elf. I can't remember the name of the author.
He must be plays. A South Pole elf. Schmitty, what up?
Fellas? What's going on?
And I have to read this ad from Sick Diggy, otherwise he'll become apoplectic. This Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory disaster is brought to you by Yuck Mouth Dental Insurance. Either keep it minty fresh or keep it shut. It also says, "I'm sure the folks at Hershey Inc. will be stepping up with their theme park." Yeah.
Oh yeah. After seeing the heat that this immersive experience brought, Hershey's on notice. They're quaking. That's
right. Step it up, Hirsch. Jersey G, queen of the Taylor pork roll, checking in. Absolutely would have thought it was for human trafficking. Yeah. Oh man. All right. Sam Shady saying good morning.
Good morning.
He also talking about we're transitioning over to the NFLPA poll. Sick also says you're right about New Orleans cooking. Why else is Zion Williamson so bloated?
Oh man, shot at the Pelican star there.
That's right. Jersey G also checking in saying drain the swamp in the locker room of FedEx Field. She also says, like the video if you haven't already. Absolutely, folks. Like the video. Please like the video if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook. We also got a couple of likes and hearts on Facebook, including from your sister, Dustin. So,
oh, there we go. Maybe she is watching today. I don't know.
Hey, Thick also asks, he says, that brings up the question, how often are NFL or any other sports teams franchise audited? Who's looking in the books? I wish I had an answer for you, Sick. I suspect that, yes, they are, especially for salary cap purposes, but I wish I had an answer for you. I really don't know. That's a great question.
Yeah, that is.
I could probably look into, but
yeah, we'll have to do some real-time research off the show to figure that one out.
Yes, for sure. Schmitty says wealthy people are notoriously stingy. Not surprised they don't want to invest in their facilities.
You are correct, sir. You and I both know this.
Jersey G, who would formerly lived in San Diego, she says that people would see Chargers players in the local gyms in the greater San Diego area when they were in San Diego. Some still live in that area and still go. It's fascinating to go.
Can you imagine you're like on the treadmill at a local San Diego gym and Philip Rivers just comes walking in there and you can ask him like, "Hey, Philip, how's life with 10 kids?"
Hey, God bless him. I know.
Yeah.
I know. My more center left friends are like, he's got 10 kids. This is terrible. And it's like, dude, 10
not
kids,
terrible.
awesome. Good for you. Good for you and your wife. You're
They're
you're
obviously happy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let the man have his happiness.
Yeah. Philip Rivers, I will say it. I miss having Philip Rivers in the NFL just for apparently he was a great trash talker, but also I remember some of his post-game press conferences. They were just so I don't know how to describe them. I particularly remember one where he beat either the Giants or the Chargers beat either the Giants or the Colts at the time. More likely the Colts. And he was like, he basically said, and I'm not going to try to do a Philip Rivers impression on the air, but he was like, anytime you beat one of them Manning brothers, it's a good day, you know, and he's just sitting up there like laughing. I go,
Or it could have been
or
it could have been the Broncos.
Yeah, it might have been
Peyton
the
was in the
Broncos in the later because then Peyton was in his division for that. So
Sam Shady says, to be fair, some of those local D1 schools have been making money, NFL money, without paying players.
that is true.
Not anymore.
But still, yeah,
not anymore. NIL is going to change the game. And I think pretty soon you're going to see NFL type prices in the NCAA for football, especially because of NIL.
Yeah,
which is pretty sad. On the Mecole Hardman thing, Shady Sam also says suspend him. I agree, for sure. Six saying the two-time was DDP. Sorry, I got it wrong. You can't always be error-free on this show. Six. Again, we're not perfect.
But I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if one Booker T.O. Huffman did say that as well.
It's true.
Also, shout out to Stevie Ray, the other half of Harlem Heat, and Booker T's brother.
Absolutely. And last comment of the day goes to Sick Diggy saying, was Mecole Hardman screaming, "Get me out of here!" like Bugs Bunny?
Maybe he was.
Maybe he was.
Munching on a carrot in the locker room.
Watch out, Pat. Mel Blanc, the legend, Mel Blanc. All right, folks, we're going to get out of here because we got other stuff to do on Saturday. I'm going to be at the MVP Arena tonight for tonight's Tilly between the Firewolves and the Riptide. Dustin, what you got going on tonight? You watching any sports in particular this weekend?
This weekend, I think it's largely going to be a movie and video game weekend. I do have to go to my day job, get some work done. Been very busy. So I'll be doing that. And then I'll be heading over to my sister's to finish our viewing of Oppenheimer. So far, I got to say it, I don't want to cause a bunch of controversy, but I'm not that impressed with it. And you're looking at somebody who's very interested in the subject of the Manhattan Project, the whole thing. Always kind of been a history guy, especially that era of history. I know it's cliche to be into World War II, but come on, there was so much that happened around it.
Dustin, before you continue, I have some breaking news.
Okay. All right.
Brandon Staley.
I teased this at the beginning of the show.
Brandon Staley
bad.
has been hired by the San Francisco 49ers, and according to Adam Schefter, in a prominent staff role, possibly assistant head coach.
The 49ers just got a downgrade. I feel like that bug on Family Guy. Good.
I want to get Snowman's reaction. He must be apoplectic. Snowman, for watching, love you. Shout out to you.
Yeah, tune in to Snowman in the morning. You'll hear his thoughts, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you'll hear them on Monday. I'll probably be on the receiving end of that rant. All right, we're gonna get out of here, folks. But before we do that, just want to remind you about our socials: Twitter, Instagram, and the scarcely used TikTok. It's at NoCredsREQ. Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ. YouTube.com/at NoCredsREQ. And also on Rumble, find our show there. From the replay, watching on the replay, thanks for checking us out. But we also want to remind you to like, comment, share, and subscribe to all of our social channels right down here below. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Good Pods. Rate and review, leave a 5-star review, or leave a 5-star rating. And if you're on a platform where you can review, we want you to please leave us a review, and we'll even read it on the air. You have been tuned in to No Credentials Required, the Saturday Brunch edition. And as always, No Credentials Required. It's a place where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Gozilla Media. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy, and we want to say, please enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there. And we'll talk to you on Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, and all our channels. We'll see you then.
Good morning, everybody.